The studio lights of the spotlight burned hotter than usual that morning as former President Victor Marshall adjusted his cufflinks and settled into the guest chair. The sleek, modern table before him felt like a gladiatorial arena, with veteran host Lena Carter seated directly across, her sharp eyes glinting with the promise of a verbal showdown. The air crackled with anticipation. "Well, look who's here," Lena began, her voice laced with biting sarcasm as she flipped through her note cards. "The man who turned press conferences into performance art. Welcome, Mr. Marshall." Victor leaned back, flashing his signature grin. "Lena, always a pleasure. I've been on the best shows, tremendous shows, and I've got to say this one's got a lot of catching up to do in the ratings department." The audience tittered, some amused, others uneasy. Moderator Sarah Klein, at the head of the table, raised a hand. "Let's keep this respectful, folks. We're here for a real discussion." But Lena wasn't interested in pleasantries. She leaned forward, her voice sharpening. "Respectful. Let's talk about respect. How respectful was it when you spent years pushing that conspiracy about the election being rigged by foreign hackers?" Victor's grin faded, his posture stiffening. "That's nonsense, Lena, total nonsense. I never said anything like that. You're just peddling the same tired lies the media loves to churn out." Lena's eyes narrowed, her voice gaining steam. "So, all those speeches, all those posts on your platform, all those rallies where you claimed the vote was hacked by overseas servers, that was just our imagination?" The studio fell silent, the hum of cameras the only sound. Victor's jaw tightened, his face flushing. "You're a real piece of work, Lena, very dishonest. I came here to talk about my achievements, the strongest economy in decades, record low unemployment, but you'd rather sling mud with your fake stories." Lena's smile was razor sharp. "Dishonest? That's funny coming from someone who, let's just say, has a very creative relationship with facts." She paused for effect. "Like when you called half the press corps enemies of the state, or mocked a war veteran's service record." Victor's voice hardened, his trademark intensity surfacing. "Such as what, Lena? Go ahead, name it." "You're making things up, like always." Co-host Rachel Torres tried to steer the ship. "Maybe we should discuss policy, trade deals, infrastructure." But her voice was drowned out by the escalating clash. Lena pressed on, undeterred. "You want specifics? How about the time you said climate change was a hoax cooked up by globalists? Or when you claimed your tax cuts paid for themselves, despite every economist saying otherwise?" Victor leaned forward, pointing across the table. "That's completely false. I have the best economists, tremendous people who agree with me. I cut taxes, created jobs, made this country stronger than ever. But you twist everything to fit your narrative." Lena didn't flinch. "My narrative? I'm just quoting you, Victor. Your own words, your own posts, your own videos. Are those fake too?" The audience shifted, some leaning forward, others exchanging nervous glances. Camera operators zoomed in, capturing Victor's tightening grip on the armrest and Lena's unyielding stare. "You're corrupt," Lena said, her voice dripping with disdain. "You call every investigation into your administration a hoax, every critic a liar. Let's talk about those 3 federal probes into your campaign's finances." Victor slammed his hand on the table, water glasses rattling. "Witch hunts, all of them, orchestrated by elites who couldn't stand that I won, that I delivered for the American people like no one else in history." Lena fired back, her voice rising. "Delivered what? Division, fear-mongering? Telling people to fight back against their own government?" Victor's eyes blazed. "You're obsessed, Lena. You've got what I call Marshall madness. Can't stop talking about me because you know I did more in 4 years than most do in a lifetime." Lena laughed, a sharp, cutting sound. "Marshall madness? That's what you call accountability? If asking why your campaign took millions from shady donors is madness, then I'm certifiably insane." The audience gasped, some cheering, others murmuring in shock. Victor's face was now crimson. "You wouldn't know accountability if it slapped you, Lena. This show, this network, it's a circus of bitter, washed-up hosts who hate success." Lena stood, hands on the table, her voice thunderous. "Bitter? I'm furious, Victor. Furious that you undermined trust in our institutions. Furious that you spread lies about voter fraud. Furious that you left office with the country more divided than ever. Victor shot to his feet, matching her intensity. I didn't divide anyone. The election was stolen. Everyone knows it. The system was rigged and I exposed it. Lena's voice cracked with disbelief. Over 50 lawsuits thrown out, Victor. Your own legal team admitted there was no evidence. Your own advisors told you to stop. But you kept pushing, didn't you? Sarah tried again, her voice strained. Please, let's sit down and... But neither listened. Lena was relentless. You talk about exposing the system, but what about the system that let your top aides skirt tax laws? Or the system that looked the other way when your family profited from foreign deals? Victor's voice dropped to a menacing growl. You're calling me corrupt. I'm the one who drained the swamp, who fought for the forgotten American. Lena's eyes burned. Forgotten? You forgot the millions who lost jobs when your tariffs tanked industries. You forgot the communities you promised to rebuild but left worse off. The studio was chaos now. Half the audience booing, half cheering. Security edged closer, unsure whether to step in. Victor pointed directly at Lena. You hate winners, Lena. You hate that I made this country stronger, richer, prouder. Lena's voice was ice cold. What I hate is a leader who lies to his people, who puts himself above the law, who thinks he's untouchable. That's not strength, that's cowardice. Victor's hands shook, his voice rising to a shout. Cowardice? I took on the elites, the media, the entire establishment. I didn't need to run. I had a great life, billions, success beyond your wildest dreams. Lena didn't miss a beat. You ran because you craved the spotlight, Victor. You turned the White House into a stage, every day a new episode of the Victor Marshall Show. The audience was on its feet, the noise deafening. Victor's voice broke as he shouted, I saved this country. I brought back jobs, secured our borders, made deals no one else could. Lena's final blow was calm, precise. What you did was erode trust, break laws, and leave a legacy of chaos. You're not above accountability, Victor. No one is. The studio fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavy. Victor's chest heaved, his face a mask of rage. Then, with a sudden jerk, he ripped off his microphone, the device hitting the floor with a sharp crack. I don't need this, he spat, voice shaking. I don't need to sit here and be insulted by a has-been host on a failing show. He stormed toward the exit. Lena called after him, running, Victor? That's what you do when the questions get too real, isn't it? He spun around, eyes wild. I'm not running. I'm done with your lies and your pathetic little platform. As he vanished through the door, Lena sat back down, catching her breath. The studio was frozen until she spoke, voice steady but adrenaline-fueled. Well, that's what happens when you don't let someone dodge the truth. The audience erupted. Applause, boos, and stunned murmurs blending into a cacophony as the cameras kept rolling, capturing the most unforgettable moment in daytime TV history. What did you think of this jaw-dropping clash? Have you ever seen a talk show go this far off the rails? Drop a comment and let us know. Subscribe for the full breakdown of this explosive encounter.